Now we are live. Now we are live. Sí, bueno, hoy vamos a estar conversando con Nick Spanos, quien es uno de los pioneros de Bitcoin y de la comunidad en general. Creo que incluso si vieron la peli Banking Bitcoin, el docu, pueden conseguir a Nick. Y también vamos a estar conversando un poco con Jorge Cortes, quien además va a ser las veces de traductor de lo que hablemos acá con Nick, para también contarnos un poco la experiencia del Blockchain Center Miami, en Miami particularmente, la experiencia latina, allí cómo ha sido crear esta comunidad, bueno, y además Satoshi en Venezuela, que tiene un contacto bastante cercano con el Bitcoin Center Miami. Entonces, bueno, va a ser bastante divertido conocer lo que tiene que comentar el señor Nick sobre los orígenes de Bitcoin, sobre su vinculación inicial con esta tecnología. Vamos a estar hablando en parte en inglés, en parte en castellano. Obviamente el señor Nick va a hablar en inglés, así que por eso también tenemos hoy a Jorge. Y bueno, sin más preámbulos, let's do it. So, thank you very much, Mr. Nick, for taking the time to talk with Satoshi in Venezuela. This is a great pleasure to talk with one of the pioneers of Bitcoin and the building of community around it. So please tell us a little about your history, knowing the first time about Bitcoin now, and how you decide that you will build things around it. And thanks again for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Javier and Jorge. So the question is if or how I found Bitcoin, or why I found it, or why I found the value of Bitcoin.
Well, if you want to share why you find the value of Bitcoin will be great, but first, how you get involved with this technology.
Yeah, I've been involved in technology for a long time, and I've been involved with the libertarian movement in United States over here. I worked for Dr. Ron Paul, who was a congressman who was running for president, and he always spoke about competing currencies. And I believe that that helped me move into the Bitcoin space faster. I had a few businesses on the internet in the 90s and later, of course, and since the 90s. And I found Bitcoin because I had to. There was nothing else. Because before that, we were controlled by many other forces. These forces, both, governmental and some businesses who try to control, and the banking cartel have controlled us from the beginning of time, from birth till death. They controlled us, and they feed us these fake pieces of paper, and we have to run around all day to try to get their fake pieces of paper that they can print automatically, as many as they want, and then we have to give some back as taxes every year too, even though they print them as much as they want. So I felt that I was a trained monkey, and I had to pick up their paper. They make paper. I have to pick up their own paper and have to give it back to them once a year too. So how can I not find Bitcoin? How can I not see the beauty of Bitcoin, the freedom of Bitcoin? And I don't know. I don't understand the question.
No, because we always want to know how the people get involved. So many of the people that I chat before said that, well, I was in the banking sector, or well, I was in the finance, or well, I'm just a nerd, so I learned about Bitcoin. Or, so that's why I'm asking. And
yeah, I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
And also, I was in politics many years, so I'm both. I'm a nerd and in politics. I had the first computers, I believe, in the politicking business here in New York for sure. And I sold voter registration data for many decades to politicians. And I was the early Cambridge Analytica. I was the big daddy of big data. So so I was in politics and computers, and the mix. Also, I had a few companies. I had one, getaroom.com and nomorehotels.com, Tiempos Gordos, I think, the Spanish one. We had an office in Buenos Aires, and it was an early Airbnb in the 90s. And I remember after 9/11, the merchant bank took our money from the bank. We had a lot of money in the bank, and everyone stopped their credit card because they couldn't fly anymore, because it was like 2-3 weeks where the government didn't let you fly. You know, the airplanes were grounded, and they wiped out. The merchant bank took all our money, and they said that they refunded it. And when we found out they didn't really refund it to the people, they said that there were fees and this and that, and we got robbed. Because our money was in a bank, and the merchant bank, stole the money. So that also was a big factor in adopting Bitcoin and being able to recognize the value of controlling your own money, because money has certain properties, and one of them is it belongs to whoever's holding it. Whoever's holding the money, that's whose money it is. So there are many other properties, of course, that the academics would like you to understand and stuff. But the main one is whoever's holding your money owns your money. So if you have money in the bank, you don't have money in the bank. The bank is holding money that you think you can get out one day. So you have to communicate it to yourself in a proper way. The bank has money that I believe is mine. And one day when I ask for it, maybe they're going to give it back to me.
Yeah, with Bitcoin, we are you are in no property of our money, so it's very understandable that Mr. Nick knows about it. So Jorge, tell us a little about what Nick said, please, in Spanish. Just a little ideas that he shared, maybe about how he knows and why don't know about Bitcoin, and obviously about you and your work, and please do it in Spanish.
Absolutamente. Primero que todo, muchas gracias, Javier. Thank you so much. Y básicamente yo soy solo un facilitador acá desde Miami, por supuesto bajo la experiencia de Nick Spanos, que ha sido un pionero en Bitcoin desde la creación del Bitcoin Center New York City en 2013. Muchos desarrollos se han dado más allá de solamente pues el uso y del intercambio y las capacidades que tiene el Bitcoin como tecnología. Entonces Nick nos estaba contando un poco de lo que había sido sus inicios en el sector de tecnología en los años 90. Tuvo también varias, ha sido emprendedor, ha sido una persona que ha estado involucrada en varios proyectos en el sector de hotelería y turismo, todos productos digitales, todos domains, de todo lo que ha sido el desarrollo del .com hasta hoy. Pues ha estado Nick involucrado en proyectos que han ayudado a otras industrias, y por supuesto en la creación en todo lo que son las criptomonedas y el desarrollo de Bitcoin alrededor del mundo. Pues Nick ha sido una persona que ha llevado el mensaje más allá de solamente lo que es la transabilidad, sino también la cultura, también el sentido de comunidad, y como centro de innovación y centro de desarrollo de la tecnología blockchain y del Bitcoin, pues Nick ha sido un referente. Entonces nos estaba contando un poquito de eso, nos estaba contando también que estuvo involucrado en los grupos libertarios aquí en los Estados Unidos, en política, y pues obviamente en mucho de lo que tiene que ver con la verdadera libertad que todos buscamos cuando los gobiernos buscan controlar y manejar ese sistema monetario que realmente no se endeuda, y ellos siguen imprimiendo, printing, y la verdad que nosotros somos los que estamos siendo también afectados porque la deuda del país pues afecta la inflación, afecta nuestra propia economía personal, y pues las monedas descentralizadas, por ejemplo, obviamente como Bitcoin, pues eso es lo que representa, ¿no? La descentralización, la transparencia, y por eso Nick ha sido pues un gran referente en impulsar esto, no solo aquí en los Estados Unidos, sino en otros países en el mundo. Ya con lo que tiene que ver con mi trabajo, pues yo soy colombiano, estoy basado aquí en Miami desde hace ya 18 años, y lo que hemos venido haciendo con Blockchain Center es la expansión de la visión que viene desde New York, pero aquí en Miami tenemos unas grandes migraciones de latinos de diferentes países que han estado primeramente aprendiendo, porque es nuestra prioridad aprender, enseñar sobre las capacidades de la tecnología blockchain, así como las ventajas que pueden ofrecer en países que tienen un sistema monetario absolutamente explotado, destruido, y pues obviamente lo que representa estas finanzas descentralizadas para esos habitantes en aquellos países, ¿no? Entonces, desde aquí, desde Miami, trabajamos en la propuesta educación para que la gente entienda de qué se trata el blockchain y cómo Bitcoin no solamente es una revolución monetaria, como dice Nick, sino también pues realmente una oportunidad para las personas que más lo necesitan, ¿no?
Okay, so Mr. Nick, Jorge said that the main goal of the Blockchain Center is to educate, to share the good news about Bitcoin and its technology. And I want to know your first thought when you started the Bitcoin Center in New York. Why did you found it interesting? What was your goal, obviously, and what did you learn of that process that you want to share with people that are building communities in, say, around Bitcoin as we are trying to do in Satoshi in Venezuela?
Yeah, I think maybe Jorge can translate each sentence, so it doesn't have to become. So translate this sentence I just said, Jorge.
Which one?
This one, that you're going to translate every sentence. Like a translator.
Que voy a traducirle sus frases.
Ok, entonces puede ser una oración y tú vas traduciendo y así le vamos dando doble de una vez.
Okay, so I worked for many politicians that were against the Federal Reserve.
Que han trabajado con diferentes políticos que han estado en contra de la Reserva Federal.
And many of them would get attacked by the media, by certain people, and they would attack the candidates. And Jorge.
Y muchos de ellos atacan sus propuestas y atacan también la diversificación de lo que hablan los medios.
So even if we were winning the race, the media would attack so much that we would lose.
Y así ellos ganaran, los medios de comunicación siempre hacían pensar que estaban perdiendo de todas maneras.
So when I got involved with Bitcoin, all of a sudden I found the same reporters that would attack the politicians that were against the Federal Reserve were attacking Bitcoin, the same ones.
Entonces, los periodistas que atacaban a estos políticos también atacaban a Bitcoin.
So I got very angry, and I broke everything in my office, and I went downtown, and I found the largest space. This was in 2013, the largest space next to the New York Stock Exchange, 100 feet from the New York Stock Exchange, on the ground floor, right next to them.
Entonces Nick ya llegó a su punto máximo, se puso bravo y abrió el Bitcoin Center New York City a 100 pies de lo que hoy en día es Wall Street y el centro de finanzas en New York City.
So in 2013, after I saw these reporters were going after Bitcoin, I opened my own exchange with no permission. I just opened it.
Entonces él lo que hizo fue abrir el centro como un cambio, como un exchange, como un centro de intercambio de Bitcoin sin ningún permiso. Simplemente lo abrió y abrió las capacidades, ¿no?
So I knew that it was going to be a very hard fight because they're not going to let go of the monetary control of the whole world that easy. So I had to tell the whole world about Bitcoin fast. And I had to open my own exchange, and people came, hundreds of people came every day and traded Bitcoin like in the stock markets, live trading.
Así que él quería dar a conocer Bitcoin más rápido de lo que la gente lo conocía y abrió el exchange y el espacio para que la gente pudiera empezar a conocer y hacer intercambio de Bitcoin.
So that's what happened. And, it was my anger and love for freedom and anger for these people who try to destroy us and not let us live our lives the way God intended us to live our lives.
Así que él lo que hizo fue, por medio de su frustración, lo que hizo fue permitirnos que pudiéramos tener también esas libertades sin ningún control ni ninguna manipulación, así como Dios quiere una vida abundante para nosotros, ¿no?
We were like a David against the modern day financial Goliaths.
Así como David y Goliat, nosotros quisimos ser ese personaje que nos deshiciéramos del gran Goliat, ¿no?
And it is an incredible feeling that each and every one of you can also have.
Y es un sentimiento increíble que ahora todos pues podemos tener la capacidad de usarlo, ¿no? De usarlo y de tomar las ventajas.
Yeah, we're not the ones that are wrong.
Así que no somos los que estamos mal ni estamos equivocados.
We're not the ones that are illegitimate.
No somos los que somos ilegítimos.
We're not the ones that are unlawful.
No somos los que estamos por fuera de la ley.
We are Bitcoin.
Somos Bitcoin. Somos todos.
Yeah, I think that is a really good way to see that how it was in the very first time that it was the rage against the machine, the rage against the system. Like we find the same motivation in Venezuela. Like in Venezuela, we don't trust institutions, we don't trust banks nor politicians. So obviously, I think that I really understand the rage that you're talking and how it was in the very early days of the Bitcoin Center, New York. Like you open it and what happened right next? So how was the community receiving this new space? Do you get ignored or people get involved? Just tell us a little about those early days.
Yeah, so we had many law enforcement came. I had lawyers at the door. We had regulators came. We had everybody came. And the community came first, of course, because no one knew what it was. But then when we started getting in the media, everybody else came to see what we were doing. So they said, "Oh, you can't do this." They said to me, "You cannot do this." I said, "Why not?" I said, who? I said, "They're trading with each other, not with me." They said, "Yeah, but you're getting fees." I go, "No, I'm not." Then they said, "You're because we didn't charge anything. Just we didn't charge anything. We even gave them free alcohol, con alcohol, and people traded with each other." And they said, "Oh, but where's the computers?" I said, "The computers are all over the world." He goes, "But the trades, where the trade?" I go, "It's open source. The computers, the mining machines, I don't know. They're all over the place. They're under some kid's bed in Venezuela." And they couldn't answer that question. As a matter of fact, we did help many. All our old mining machines we would give to any Venezuelan who came by with a passport. We give them our old mining machines, and they brought them back. This is very, 2013, 2014, 2015. And, I think anyway, Jorge, sorry.
Yeah. So, llegó mucha gente primero, la comunidad, muchas personas llegaron atendiendo al centro y por supuesto después llegaron autoridades, los reguladores y pues las personas que realmente llegaron preguntando, ok, ¿dónde están los computadores? Usted no puede hacer esto. Esto es ilegal, usted está cobrando un fee. Y Nick lo que le respondiera, no estamos cobrando ningún cobro, ellos se están haciendo las transacciones entre ellos mismos. ¿Dónde están los computadores, los servidores? Y fue donde empezaron pues a encontrar que es un sistema descentralizado y los computadores están por todo el mundo, ¿verdad? Y pues realmente lo único que hacía el centro era unirlos y a los compradores, los vendedores, y también pues obviamente ofrecerles eventos con un buen momento entre copas.
So that's what happened. We were up against the regulators. People didn't know what it was. Many people thought it was an illegal thing. Jorge.
Así que estuvo también mucho tiempo en contra de los reguladores, ¿verdad? Y lo que realmente se hizo fue pues estar a la vanguardia de lo que era conveniente para nosotros, sin ningún aspecto ilegal.
So like I said before, we're not the illegitimate ones. We're not the illegitimate ones. We were never the illegitimate ones. Now they're all trying to adopt Bitcoin and blockchain, and it makes some of us feel more legitimate. But the reality was, we were never the illegitimate ones, ever. They were the illegitimate ones, or they're the illegitimate ones, and they're learning every day to become to our side.
Así que poco a poco nunca hemos sido los ilegítimos. Al contrario, se ha mostrado que realmente ellos pueden ser más ilegítimos y que día a día, entre los conceptos de lo que es la tecnología blockchain y lo que Bitcoin representa, pues ellos también están acercando a la adopción, pero nunca hemos sido los ilegítimos.
So that's pretty much the story. We fought, many lawyers. They even made a law against us because there were no laws in the beginning. So they made a license that we had to get from them.
Así que como lo único que querían era atacar, lo que hicieron fue crear una licencia, pero restringiendo y no realmente tratando de bloquear lo que hacía, ¿verdad?
So here we are,
Así que aquí estamos.
Here we are today.
Claro, porque tenemos que tener en cuenta que en 2003, en ese momento en donde se crea el Bitcoin Center Miami, igual había mucho prejuicio, el Bitcoin Center New York, había mucho prejuicio aún contra Bitcoin, todavía se consideraba, no es que hoy no, pero en ese momento se consideraba todavía más dinero para criminales, para el lavado de dinero. Obviamente lo que nos dice Nick sobre cómo él se mantuvo allí, cómo había, bueno, este intercambio con el regulador, incluso se creó la regulación sobre la propia plataforma ya existiendo, entonces nos habla de cómo en ese momento era muy nuevo, pues in that moment it was very new, so I understand that obviously regulators will be against something that they didn't understand, something that I think that they don't understand today. So obviously that was a normal reaction for them. And after that, after you open it and you keep working on that, what was the next step? So why did you find necessary to replicate this kind of space in other places, and who you contacted in the first moments to create these other places where community can hang out, exchange Bitcoin and stuff like that?
Yeah, people contacted me that they wanted to do it. So, we want to make sure that they do it right so they don't get screwed up. And Jorge.
Así que en realidad Nick fue contactado desde New York para abrir este otro centro y que se aseguraran de que no fuera a ser obviamente contradictorio o contraproducente para los mismos, ¿no?
And many people contacted us, and we got places that open. Some didn't open yet. We have many places that are about to open. We opened up Miami with Scott and Erica and Jorge to reach out to Latin America and create a gateway into this industry and try to teach people. I mean, the reason why these places open is for education, because without education, you can't use the Bitcoin.
Que la razón principal por la que se están abriendo los centros es porque queremos llevar la educación acerca de la tecnología blockchain y del uso del Bitcoin. Pero inicialmente fue Erika, Scott y ahora yo haciendo también pues el acercamiento a los países de Latinoamérica desde Miami, pero hay otros centros que también están a punto de abrir porque tienen sus comunidades y también vamos a estar llegando a ellos, a esas ciudades pronto.
So the most important thing is the education. We bring people in, we show them how to use a wallet, because if we don't educate them, they'll find some Ponzi scheme, piramida of some bullshit that they think is Bitcoin, but is really someone just stealing from them. So we have to educate people.
Así que el centro, la prioridad es la educación para que las personas puedan empezar a entrar a las finanzas descentralizadas, que aprendan a utilizar una billetera virtual y que no venga cualquier persona a decirles, a venderles una pirámide o un esquema que puede ser obviamente piramidal y un scam, ¿verdad? Y los engañen. Entonces nuestra prioridad es la educación.
Yeah, we want to teach you what Bitcoin really is before the bad guys try to convince you of what it isn't.
Entonces nuestra prioridad es la educación para que esos corruptos y esa gente mala no llegue primero a llevar la información y luego las personas quedan con un sinsabor de un concepto que Bitcoin no es.
So being that it's the people's money, the people have to police it and make sure that all the other people understand it. So the good people have to take a role in explaining and learning what it is and pushing the information to the next person.
Así que lo que buscamos es que entre nosotros nos empoderamos y nos educamos para que otras personas aprendan y que entiendan de fondo de qué se trata y constantemente mantenernos unidos, descentralizados y, por supuesto, darle el poder a las personas.
So it's very important, the Bitcoin centers, to bring new people into the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Así que por eso es tan importante que en el centro nosotros le llevemos la información que ellos necesitan y que siempre cuenten con los centros para cualquier tipo de preguntas y necesidades que tengan.
Okay, and so are there any requirements, I don't know, anything that you, requirements, are there any requirements that you, I don't know, like I want to open a Bitcoin center Caracas, so what should I do if I want to do so? No, I don't want to because I have Satoshi in Venezuela, but if somebody's listening and they say, well, I want to connect with this project from Nick that he has experience, have the work done. So how we can build something like that?
Yeah, we build the educational material and make sure we bring people in and teach them how to use the Bitcoin and what the wallets are and the security and which sites are good and which ones we don't even know about that show up. And, it's self-policing of the ecosystem. So new people, because they can make a website, they start asking you for your Bitcoin and they're going to give you the Rolls Royce. It's not true. And if we all communicate, then we'll know that.
Sí, principalmente nos fijamos en quiénes son las personas, el network y las personas que realmente conocen de la tecnología, para que no vengan y que nosotros mismos podamos ser nuestra policía, ¿verdad? Y nos mantengamos vigilantes de los otros y que no venga o cualquier persona con un Rolls Royce, con un carro y les vendan una cosa que no es.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and let's talk about how you understand Bitcoin, because we are discussing some ideas about libertarian, about how it could be money for the people and how it could leads to more freedom. But please tell us about how. I don't know if you can share a concept that you have about Bitcoin and how it can change people, or if it can change anything. So I think that maybe what is your approach when you are teaching about Bitcoin? Yeah, that's the question.
I think, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. There's some issue with the sound a little. But I think Bitcoin gives us the freedom against inflation for starters, because it's a deflationary currency. It's much, much more than a currency. Bitcoin gives us the freedom to control and hold our own wealth. We become our own banks. We don't need a third party intermediary. Jorge.
Sí, lo primero es la importancia de tener una moneda que es mucho más allá de una moneda, porque no depende ni está atada a la inflación, es una moneda deflacionaria y además que nos permite tener el poder de ser nuestro propio banco sin tener intermediarios.
So Bitcoin is much, much more than that. But for starters, it's the ability for you to take control of your own wealth, especially in Venezuela, to fight inflation, and in many other countries, especially now since the corona, many countries are printing more and more and more and more and more money. I think a Bitcoin will be a hedge against that, and it's permissionless. And Jorge?
Sí, lo más importante es que la gente entienda que puede tener control de sus propias finanzas personales y más allá de eso, pues que puedan hacer intercambios sin un sistema central que esté controlando eso y obviamente sin permiso de nadie, ¿no? En absoluta confianza entre las dos personas. Obviamente y sin
so it's censorship resistant. I think Jorge's not transmitting proper, right?
Yes.
Javier, do you hear Jorge correctly?
Yes, the main problem is that your microphone is open, so the audio of his dropped to yours, so we have like a feedback because you don't have earphones. So, but if you mute your mic since you are not talking, no problem at all. Now you can continue about the censorship resistance. This is one of the main points of Bitcoin. I think that censorship resistance is that the great thing that we can use as citizens, because you don't need to trust your bank nor your government to move your money, and nobody can stop you for doing so. And what are your thoughts on how censorship resistant money could help people or could lead to political change? Or what do you think that censorship resistance means in order to be a citizen? I don't know. I think that authoritarianism could happen in any country. So I don't want to think that this is useful only if you are a Venezuelan and if you are living in a regime, but as a citizen, you are talking about censorship resistance. So how we can use it, how we can take advantage of that. And you are muted, Mr. Nick. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? All right, so I put a headphone on. That's better? Okay, good.
Great.
But I didn't hear the question, though. But it's about censorship resistance.
Yeah.
It's about censorship resistance. Okay, so, like banks or other places, let's say you have an issue that you're innocent, but the bank takes your money. And or freezes your money, only freezes it for 1 day or 2 days, and you lose a big business opportunity, or you lose a house that you were going to buy, or maybe they freeze it forever, or maybe they can do anything. Like I said, money belongs to the bearer. Whoever holds the money at that moment, it's their money at that moment. So if a bank is holding your money, that's the bank's money until you get it, if you get it back. Jorge?
Nick está hablando de un caso donde, ¿qué pasa si el banco te frisa la cuenta y la tiene frisada durante un día o más? ¿Qué pasa si pierdes negocios? ¿Qué pasa si se daña tu empresa por eso? Así que la entidad que controla el dinero, que tiene el control del dinero, pues va a ser la que tiene el juicio también del dinero y realmente pues no es descentralizado, está entrando en tu propia privacidad, ¿no? Eso es lo principal.
So without censorship-resistant money, we are at the beck and call of any government or any bank manager or teller or ex-wife that's going to the judge to try to take your money or anything, or second ex-wife or third ex-wife.
Así que con una moneda descentralizada y resistente a la censura, pues no tienes que estar dependiendo de un manager de un banco o de una persona que está en el banco porque está controlando tus finanzas, ¿verdad? Así que te da la oportunidad de ser absolutamente libre y no depender de una ex mujer o un centro bancario.
You know, it could be ex-husbands also.
O pueden ser esposos también.
Esposo. Esposa, esposo. Okay, I got it. So there's a, you know, we have just been trained for so long that the governments run the money that, you know, it's not true. We're just about, you know, training. We've been trained.
Así que lo que ha pasado es que los gobiernos nos han estado entrenando y tienen absolutamente todo el control como si fuéramos marionetas, ¿verdad?
So these are certain truths that, you know, decentralization, censorship-resistant money. I mean, that's what it was when gold and silver were legal, was the only money. And over time, you know, gold is very heavy. So they made paper to trade it with paper because it was heavy or hard to move around.
Así que así como en la época del oro y la plata, pues tiene también las mismas características de descentralización y de resistencia a cualquier censura o cualquier bloqueo de un banco central o del gobierno.
And then when the banks, the central banks, the governments started printing money, and the kings started printing money, they changed many things. As a matter of fact, Jesus attacked the money changers. They were not selling animals. They're the money changers. But Van Helsing translated the Greek. I'm Greek, so I know what it says. When Van Helsing translated the Greek into English for the King James Bible, they twisted it up. They changed it around because King James had a fiat currency. You know, had a fake paper currency. Jesus flipped the tables because they had a piece of leather that was stamped with wood and leather stamped together, which made a token, a government issued, you know, the Sanhedrin issued this fake currency, and you traded your gold and silver at the money changers to be able to trade. So, you know, that's the only time Jesus got angry was then. And we know what happened, you know, a week later.
Así que cuando los gobiernos e incluso más antiguamente los reyes empezaron a imprimir o a sacar sus monedas, pues realmente fue cuando empezaron a manipular más también a las poblaciones. Y en el caso, él da un ejemplo del mismo Jesucristo en una ocasión que se puso muy bravo en el mercado, fue precisamente porque encontró unos conceptos de monedas, ¿verdad?, que estaban imprimiendo el rey James en esa época, y pues realmente lo usaban como método de intercambio, pero ya estaban manipulando un sistema económico. Y esa fue la única vez que Jesús se puso bravo.
Yeah, that was a very old time when Jesus get mad because there was no Bitcoin. So if there was a Bitcoin, obviously Jesus wasn't need to get mad. So, Mr. Spanos, we are going to have some questions of the audience that are here with us, and we have Gustavo that asks if you think that CBDC, central bank digital currencies, will be launched to compete or to move from the way currencies as Bitcoin, and what are your thoughts on these new popular projects of central bank currencies?
Well, there's absolutely no way that the central bank's currency is going to compete with Bitcoin, because the central bank needs currency that they can keep printing. They cannot have a predefined amount. Jorge?
Que básicamente que no existe la posibilidad de que un banco central se asemeje a Bitcoin, porque la necesidad de los bancos centrales es seguir imprimiendo para ellos poder tener cierto control sobre la sociedad, ¿verdad?
So the central banks might make it sound like they're going to compete with Bitcoin, but what they're actually going to do is going to make it easier to buy Bitcoin. And I believe it's actually going to drive the price up, because right now you can't get the cash into Bitcoin without finding someone in the three-dimensional world. But later, when they have their currency, you can just send it over the internet and get Bitcoin.
Sí, básicamente los gobiernos centrales van a intentar competir contra Bitcoin, pero realmente lo que van a hacer es que la gente compre más Bitcoin, porque la gente se dará cuenta realmente la legitimidad y el impacto de uno o el otro, evidentemente, ¿no?
So Bitcoin, there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin ever. Jorge?
Solamente habrán 21 millones de Bitcoins en total.
So, but the fiat currency, the government money, is always going to be infinite.
Pero las monedas centrales siempre serán infinitas, porque siempre van a querer imprimir.
So if they keep making more and more, the ones you save are worth less and less.
Así que entre más guardes, también vas a tener menos y menos.
With Bitcoin, as people buy it, the ones you hold are worth more and more.
En cambio, con Bitcoin, la gente lo que adquiere también va a tener más y más y se va a valorar. Que no
Supply and demand.
Por oferta y sentido de oferta y demanda.
The more you demand that people use Bitcoin, the more freedom you will be supplied with.
Entre más la gente demande y adquiera el Bitcoin, más libres vamos a poder estar todos y disfrutar de la verdadera libertad.
Okay, now we have some question from Jose Manuel in the same topic of CBDC, and shitcoins are on the verge of extinction in the face of the arrival of digital currencies for central banks. What do you estimate the effects of this phenomenon would be for Bitcoin? You are saying that it could lead the price up because will be easier to get Bitcoins. And you also mentioned the word fiat currencies, even with the fact that you are talking about digital currencies. Why do you think that those are still being fiat money? And are there really similar to Bitcoin or diametral opposite to the concept?
They have nothing. They have nothing to do with Bitcoin, right? They're already digital now. Money is already digital. They just tap on the keyboard and make as much as they want. Jorge, come on.
No tiene nada que ver con Bitcoin. Aunque sean monedas digitales o que sean productos digitales, no tienen la capacidad que tiene el Bitcoin.
Yeah, they're already digital. We have no fear. We believe that it's going to bring the price up. Bitcoin has no boss. You cannot bastardize, even though we're talking to Javier Bastardo, we cannot bastardize the Bitcoin because there's no owner. There's no boss. The people are the owner and the boss of the financial system.
Lo que tiene Bitcoin es que no hay ningún jefe, nadie va a querer estar controlando tus finanzas y por supuesto se convierte en una ventaja. Aunque las otras monedas puedan ser digitales, Bitcoin nunca va a querer controlarte o imponerse en tus propias finanzas personales.
And the programming language, the code is what controls Bitcoin, which is law. The code is law, not a bunch of people, humans in government. They're not the law in Bitcoin like they would be in their currency. The code is the law in Bitcoin, and it's open source, and everyone can read it. You can't read the minds. You can't read the minds of the politicians.
Y el código es la verdadera ley por la que Bitcoin se rige y se desarrolla como ciencia, no una manada de políticos o de personas que quieren controlar y tener control sobre el sistema.
Exactly, exactomendo, whatever. So, so I'm going to learn Spanish. I'll learn Spanish fast.
Now I have some questions that are Venezuelan related. So some that I have to ask because I'm a reporter, so I really like information. And there was a piece on New York Times that was published about the petro, and we have Marquesa asking about if you know anything about the petro. The piece of New York Times that I'm naming said that you were here when the first meeting on the Central Bank of Venezuela was occurring, that you were in that meeting, that you knew the man behind the petro. So, and Marquez is asking what is the and if you know about the Venezuelan crypto, the petro, and I want to ask if you really was here that in that moment, and if you were here, why you were here.
Well, I was invited by some people, young people, to come speak at the university, and you know, I did that the night before, and somehow they got me to this other place. I didn't even really realize what was happening, and that's pretty much all that I can say, I think.
Lo que cuenta es que fue invitado.
I don't want any conspiracy theories. I was going to Venezuela to help some kids. I was talking to them for a year earlier, or plus more, because they wanted to make their own currency, the kids, to make a shitcoin in their own, attempts to help their own country independently of their country. But somehow, I don't know what happened. They invited me to speak at the university, and other things happened. I spoke in other places, I believe. That's what happened. It's a little strange what happened.
Que fue muy extraño lo que pasó, pero Nick venía hablando con unos chicos muy jóvenes que querían desarrollar un proyecto para su propio país en una universidad, y fue donde él fue a dar su charla en una universidad, y luego al otro día fue invitado entre extrañas acontecimientos, y pues también participó como de otras conversaciones hablando sobre lo que era blockchain, ¿verdad?
Yes, it will. I mean, I needed to ask because I was full curious about that mention, but no problem at all. So, I mean, even in the conditions that you were here, you are talking louder about it. So I don't think that you have anything to hide. So I don't try to imply that. So Marquesa also asked, what is the object of linking Bitcoin Center with Venezuela and Latin America in general? I think that this is an interesting question because in Miami we have this very mixed culture where Latin America have a really great community. So why to connect these communities? Why, and also why around Bitcoin?
Well, that's what I do, Bitcoin. But I mean, you know, if it was 2005, I would be connecting with Zimbabwe.
Si fuera 2005 estaría conectado con Zimbabue, pero principalmente pues Bitcoin es la prioridad, y eso es lo que Nick representa, Bitcoin. Así que en Latinoamérica, si podemos ayudar también a construir ese puente, por eso estamos alcanzando las comunidades de Latinoamérica.
And also, I've been to many countries, and I push the Bitcoin's agenda, because there's no other agenda that I believe is pure and honest, and can actually help millions upon billions of people. Only Bitcoin. So that's my job.
Y asimismo lo ha hecho en muchos países alrededor del mundo, empujando el proyecto de lo que es Bitcoin, pues para que pueda llegar a todos los rincones del mundo y a ofrecer los beneficios que tiene por naturaleza como proyecto puro y honesto.
So of course I would help, you know, the Venezuelans as much as I can. I will help whatever I can do, and I want to embolden people around the world to take back their currency, to take back their ability to have trade without all the government impediments, the government blocks, because then people become poor because there's all these blocks and they don't even want to work because it's so difficult.
Así que seguirá tratando de ayudar a todas las personas en Venezuela para que obviamente el gobierno no bloquee su capacidad de desarrollo personal, de comercializar y construir sus finanzas personales, y que aprovechen las ventajas de la tecnología.
So of course, Bitcoin.
Yeah, of course, Bitcoin. And Jose asked, what do you think of the Bitcoin phenomenon in Venezuela, and how, in the face of failing monetary liquidity, does the trade meaning of cryptocurrency grown organically like few in the world? I think that he asked on what are your thoughts on Venezuela, because you said that if it was 2005, you were trying to connect Zimbabwe, but you are trying to connect Latin America and Venezuela, that is the hyperinflationary case of the decade. So what are your thoughts on the Bitcoin phenomenon in Venezuela?
Yeah, I think Venezuelans are very smart, and they've adopted very quickly to the cryptocurrency. And, you know, the petro helped do that, because when the government wants to make their own crypto. All of a sudden, crypto is wonderful, and in the newspapers and everything, and everyone learns about crypto. And then at the end, no matter what you learn about crypto, Bitcoin is the king. So all governments should have their own crypto and teach all their people about crypto, and allow them to become the free people that they were born to be, and to flip the money changers' tables over.
Así que lo principal es que la gente pueda usar las diferentes capacidades de las criptomonedas, y pues obviamente aunque los gobiernos y los bancos centrales quieran tener su propia criptomoneda, pues siempre va a ser Bitcoin la moneda más fuerte, y pues realmente la primera criptomoneda descentralizada que dio esas prioridades y esas ventajas para el uso de la gente, para que la gente las pueda acceder.
And we have another question about trust in stable coins. That can we continue to trust or believe in stable coins like USDT to trade to buy BTC at low prices and sell at low prices when we want to multiply our profits? I don't understand the question, but I think that if you think that stable coins like USDT are useful to Bitcoin, to acquire Bitcoin, so what do you think about these kind of projects?
Well, I don't really trust in someone saying that there's money in some account and that's why you should trade this coin. I mean, you need an algorithmic type stable coin. As a matter of fact, Maker DAO, Rune and Nikolai, they built that right here where I'm sitting. They built it in my office, and they built it at my house over here. So I believe in Maker. I believe in an algorithmic where code is law stablecoin. There's no way to say, let's say all of a sudden the government Tether. I mean, let's say the government, grabs the bank accounts or something. Then where's the bank? It's going to go to zero the next moment. So I'm not sure if having a custodial in the banking system backed by a banking instrument is proper for a stable coin. I don't believe that that's I don't think that has anything to do with us. Phil's a good friend of mine. It's an incredible project, Tether. It bridges the gaps between many things. But if you ask me philosophically, of course, I have to go with the algorithmic stable coin. And even though we're learning more and more about what could happen and what can't happen, so I go for algorithmic.
Siempre va a creer en lo que son los algoritmos, el código, por encima de cualquier stablecoin que pueda crear un banco, que pueda realmente ser un proyecto en el que se trabaja con un banco centralizado. Siempre va a creer más en el código y los algoritmos de la tecnología como tal.
Y dijo también que Maker se hizo ahí en su oficina, así que nos nombró Maker como un proyecto que puede ser útil. De stablecoins está la opción de DAI. Nosotros en Satoshi en Venezuela somos maximalistas de Bitcoin, no creemos en shitcoins de ningún tipo, pero lo que dice Nick es que tienes la opción de, en vez de utilizar Tether, que depende de un depósito en un banco que igual es corrompible, igual mencionó que conoce a la gente detrás del proyecto de Tether, pero que está mucho más ligado a Fiat, al sistema Fiat, que lo que está este token automatizado, respaldado algorítmicamente, que era un poco lo que comentaba. And Yes, now we are in the end of this webinar. Really great to have Mr. Spanos and also great to have Jorge. And I want to ask you to tell us or to share with us a final thought, a final reflection on building communities and how is to build a community around an idea or a project or a money like Bitcoin. I don't know if you want to tell us since you are experienced in doing so, but this final thought on or how is to build communities, or what are your recommendations to people that are trying to do something similar that the thing that you did. So please tell us, Mr. Spanos.
So, I mean, to build a community, I mean, they have to understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. This is not just for some monetary gain. This is to express your freedom as a human being. This is to liberate your heart and your soul to the planet. You know, you have a very short time in this world, and if you don't liberate yourself, I mean, you know, you're gonna die miserable, and you're not even gonna know why. So you have to explain to people that we're going back to the time where everyone kept their wealth on them, but we're gonna hold it digitally, cryptographically with Bitcoin, and we're gonna be able to move throughout our lives in a way that we're going to feel free, and we're going to defund many bad. We're going to defund many bad entities that do bad things. I mean, the dollar is backed by war. There's no other reason to have the dollar. If you don't use a dollar, somehow you're going to end up on the bad side of the United States. It's like Saddam went to euro. He's going to accept euro, and a month later, you know, things happened that is, you know, we invaded it. And Libya, he wanted gold. He said, "Oh, I'm going to trade my oil for gold." And you know, there are many things that are happening that sanctions and stuff that hurt the people. The people, all people are good. They just use the governments use other governments, and they try to get everyone mad at each other. When the reality, it has something to do with the monies that they print, the pieces of paper, the lithograms, photographs, their pictures, their lithograms of like dead people, and they're trying to give it worth by creating strife between peoples. But all people, most people in the world are good, and they'd be good to each other too. If we have a way to get together and express this gift that Satoshi Nakamoto has bestowed upon us, the way to have a digital scarcity, and we have to move forward in a bold way and not be afraid. I mean, you know, how many days do we have left? Whatever. Don't be afraid. You know, your ancestors, they're looking at you right now. You know, Javier, I mean, Jorge, I keep talking. You know, I need a translator.
Bueno, lo principal es que la gente está entendiendo que es una verdadera libertad, que el dólar como tal ha sido también fortalecido por las guerras, y que lo que Bitcoin ofrece es una libertad en donde nosotros mismos podemos decidir por nosotros y no dependiendo de una imposición o de una fortaleza como el dólar, que no queremos estar en el lado equivocado de la cultura estadounidense, de la historia americana, sino que el Bitcoin lo que nos ofrece es una verdadera libertad y cada día más personas se dan cuenta de eso, del espíritu de lo que Satoshi Nakamoto ofrecía desde el principio y en su white paper, era esa verdadera libertad y no caer en una toxicidad que el dólar pueda traer alrededor del mundo.
So that's why the community should come together, and you have to do whatever you can to bring the communities together and move forward towards our freedom.
Y tenemos que seguir juntos como comunidad, comunicando, enseñando y pues comunicando las ventajas para que alcancemos la libertad, pero no solamente para uno, sino realmente para todos.
So we have to move forward, especially in Venezuela.
Así que para adelante tenemos que movernos.
I'm Greco primo. Come on.
Así que tenemos que movernos para adelante, Venezuela.
Bueno, thank you very much, Mr. Spanos, for sharing your thoughts and sharing your time. Also, thanks a lot, Jorge, for translating. This was a really blast conversation with a pioneer, a person that really knows what Bitcoin has involved and how it has changed from the time. So thanks a lot for taking the time to talk with us. Y bueno, este va a ser el cierre de este primer encuentro del ciclo de encuentros digitales de Satoshi en Venezuela. Este ha sido, bueno, la conversación con Nick Spanos, que es un pionero de Bitcoin, fundador del Bitcoin Center Miami, New York, chairman del Bitcoin Center. Además, estuvimos con Jorge Cortes del Blockchain Center Miami, ese sí es de Miami. Y mañana vamos a estar conversando con la periodista de CoinDesk, Lee Quinn, quien va a estar también hablando con nosotros en inglés. Entonces, este ha sido el cierre del primer encuentro de este sexto ciclo de encuentros. Hablemos de Bitcoin. Gracias a ambos por su tiempo. Thank you very much for your time, guys. And thanks. That's it. Bye.
Gracias, Javier.
Thank you. Thank you, Javier. Thank you. Thank you.